Welcome, my people, to the Village Boy Podcast. It is your host, Trez, and today we're about to analyze the game, the finals, qualifying finals that we saw yesterday between the Super Eagles of Nigeria and Panthers of Congo. It was an amazing game. Being that I'm a neutral taken in the situation, it was a beautiful game. Being that I'm not Nigerian and I'm not Congolese, it was a perfect display of what is to come in Morocco in a few months. When you look at that game, you can only but appreciate the level of growth that we have seen year over year in African football. We can appreciate the quality from both sides, but we can also talk about the weaknesses that we see, or at least we saw in Nigeria in particular. Nigeria, the Super Eagles of Nigeria are known as flag bearers of African football. And for me, and people always think I'm too much of a harsh critic, for me, Nigeria should not even be here. Congo should be here. Congo is not known for its largesse or an African powerhouse country. So Congo, Gabon, these are countries that we're supposed to be in this kind of space. Smaller countries that push their weight against the bigger countries. And if you look at the list of the countries that have qualified, those are guys who were supposed to qualify and they did the job. Nigeria, on the other hand, was supposed to qualify in the regular qualifiers, right? So a country like South Africa that qualified in the group that Nigeria found itself in, did the job. But why? Because they organized. So, and the sum of this conversation, we're gonna break down so that Africans begin to understand that talent it's not all that is required. Nigeria has an abundance of talent, but as it has shown time without number, that talent is not all that will take you through the finish line. Matter of fact, discipline, organization, structure is what will take you through the finish line faster and keep you at that level more than talent. We're going to break into that. But let's go ahead and watch a little bit of the highlights and get into the conversation. Because I believe that Africans need to, Nigerians and other people that are so reliant and so dependent on talent alone need to start understanding that it's time to focus on other things.
Democratic Republic of Congo, the keeper's rather spin that away. Just didn't get hold of that at all, and just couldn't get the ball to stop bouncing enough. That's Nigeria looking for a second goal to make it a cushion. So the overhit generally are. Here comes Elia. Wan-Bissaka again. No, it's not really near the goal. Wan-Bissaka will keep it in. Keep up with Mutasami. It's a decent ball down this left flank. Iwobi sends it back out to the Porto man. Good ball inside. There's a chance here. And there still is. Unsharpened by the Super Eagles. Now then, can they come here with Elia? Whilst Nigeria have had goals aplenty in recent games. Oh, came on and made a difference off the bench against Cameroon. He's given the ball here, and all of a sudden this is danger now for better. Good defending though. A couple of men in the middle, but there's too many. And Onyeka. In comes the corner now. It's a great ball. Set up one of the goals in the 4-1 win over Gabon. Here comes Osman again for Nigeria, looking for the second goal. It's a not bad ball in. They're getting caught in possession and they might struggle here. Bakambu now. Haven't really seen him on the ball in the game so far. Bakambu, great ball into the middle, and there is the equaliser. Right on cue.
The level of intelligence in that goal from Bakambu is just, like I said, the level where African football is, and we are going to see that level on display in Morocco in December and January for the African Nations Cup. We saw a little bit of that in Ivory Coast 2 years ago, and we're going to see more of that in Morocco in a few months. African football is evolving. African football has evolved. The same tired old strategies, the same played out things that Africans have consistently done will no longer work. Nigeria, you cannot do the same things and expect a different result. Africa is changing. African countries are waking up. You have small countries like Tanzania that has understood that we need to organize our football and take corruption out of the football. We need to build from the ground up, right? Tanzania is something that Nigeria can copy. Morocco has understood. Morocco has always been a powerhouse, but they were overly dependent on talent, and generation after generation, they produced the talent, but the talent was never able to carry them because they did not have a structure. Morocco went to the drawing board and said, you know what, we need to be able to build that structure. That's what Nigeria needs to do. And Nigeria has refused. Nigeria is refusing to put in place the structure that will take this powerful nation to the next level. South Africa did that. After South Africa's first time that we knew of was in 1996 when they hosted, right? And won, right? I think everybody was like, you know what? They were coming back from appetite. Let's just go ahead. They had a good team, a decent team, McFish and all of these guys. They hosted and they won. But after that, we didn't really see or hear of South Africa again. But they understood that we cannot be dependent on just talent alone. Like Nigeria is heavily dependent on talent. Nigeria has nothing else going for it but just talent. Nigeria does not have a league. The league is in shambles. The Nigerian Football Federation, Nigerian FA, is as corrupt as you can imagine. Nigeria has the best female team in Africa. They have won, but they don't have a build process because they just depend on shared talent. And I tell you, as more African countries continue to build in that structure or process, you see that Nigeria begins to struggle, even at the women's section. As you see other African countries build under 17, under 20, Nigeria struggles because structure will always supersede talent. And you look at a crazy country like Cameroon that for the longest time, they have just been able to bully their way through stuff without any process. They too are struggling because they don't have a process. The talent in Cameroon is drying out. The talent in Nigeria in itself is not even drying out. It's just that the processes are not there to move Nigeria from a talent-driven country to an African powerhouse of football for generations to come. Let's listen to a fan of the Super Eagles say this stuff himself, because sometimes we try not to understand what the frustration these people are having. And let's listen to this guy break down his frustration.
Bearing African giant, you cannot make it to the World Cup 2 editions, two editions in a row. FIFA expanded it. 48 teams come and play World Cup. See World Cup, come and play. Nigeria did not still make it. 48 teams. 48 good teams come and play the World Cup. Nigeria said, no, we don't want to be there. Do you know how embarrassing this is? Ghana and South Africa are going to the World Cup. We are at home watching them. It's not yet dawn on people until that World Cup time and watching all those teams play there. When was the last time I saw my team in FIFA to play them, to play my country? When was the last century I saw it, Nigeria? When was the last time I saw you there? When? Tell me. I'm looking at you in the eyes. Tell me. Only shame and disgrace they know how to bring to us. Corruption, corruption, corruption. Government corrupt, NFF corrupt, everywhere corruption. How will our football grow? Where will we go to? Everywhere, pain, pain, pain. I'm tired. There was a time I was negative about Nigerian football. I just chose to be positive. I chose to be hopeful, to join the Hope Day bandwagon. And it's pain. I remembered why I gave up on Nigerian football. I remember why I became so negative. That people were even saying I'm not a patriotic Nigerian. I remember now. You people have reminded me today why I gave up on Nigerian football. This is why. They give me hope. See, since I became a conscious football fan, it's only pain I've known. From Ojeda scoring me last minute free kick to losing final AFCON, to how many, if I start counting the pain for people here. World Cup qualification, last World Cup qualification, it was Ghana. Ghana directly denied me of qualification. Today is Congo. Congo.
As you can hear the pain and frustration in the man's voice as he also minimizes Congo. And that's a little bit of that arrogance when you say Congo, right? Congo. But Congo has done the necessary duty. Congo has put in place, and they need to still, Congo is a war-torn country, right? They still need to put in place a structure that can build from the very young level. And we've not seen that. Right now, they just want it more than Nigeria, right? They just wanted it more than Nigeria. And I feel his pain. And I'm, like I said, I'm not a Nigerian, I'm an African. And for me, I want to see these processes in place. I'll take a minute right now and read a letter from myself to the people of Nigeria so that they can put it together and understand what is going on. I'll play the video again of the game and I'll move to the back so I can be able to read my letter to the people of Nigeria. I'm not a Nigerian. I don't have green, white, green. I don't have green, white, green blood. I wasn't born in Lagos, Kano, Enugu, or Port Harcourt. I will never fully understand the pain of watching your Super Eagles crash out to the Democratic Republic of Congo on penalties, while your own people shrug and switch the channels to watch EPLs and other foreign league. I cannot understand that. But that is exactly why this cuts me deep. Because from the outside, Nigeria is the single greatest wasted miracle in world football. I have watched kids in Ajegunle, sorry for the pronunciation, play barefoot with bundles of rags and still produce touches that would embarrass Premier League midfielders. I have seen 80,000 people cramp into Teslim Balongun just to watch a friendly, screaming like the roof is on fire. I have looked at your population, 220 million people and growing, and done the math. If even 0.01% of you are world-class raw material, that's 22,000 potential Osimens. Hear that again. That's 22,000 potential Osimens, right? Walking around right now. And yet, when I went to Lagos the last time I was in Lagos, the only football jerseys I saw on the streets were for Arsenal, Manchester United, Chelsea, Real Madrid, Barcelona. As I hung around the streets of Lagos, I found grown men arguing about if Ateta is finished, or at the time, if Ten Hag, who was the coach of Manchester United, deserved more time. I fell across one of the local teams in Nigeria, Remo Stars, the only fully professional club in the country with its own stadium, its own fully functional women's team, a proper academy, with continental ambitions. They just crashed out of the CAF tournament this year. I watched as these teams play, as Remo played every year, every game in front of nothing over 500 people. 500 people in a country of 220 million. The most professional team, the champion of the Nigerian Professional League, could not amass 1,000 people to watch a game in its own stadium. Like the fan said, pain everywhere, pain everywhere. This is not normal. This is a national tragedy dressed up as preference. You have given up on your own game. You have been betrayed so many times that supporting Eyemba, Rivers United, or shouting Stars now feels like volunteering for fresh heartbreaks. The federation steals. The referees are bought. The pitches are terrible. The salaries are unpaid. The youth teams cheat age. We've known this for so long about Nigerians cheating at age level. And the cycle repeats itself. Wash, rinse, repeat. So to protect yourselves, the only way you know how, you fall in love with clubs 6,000 kilometers away that will never disappoint you, except when Arsenal does not win the championship. That's the only disappointment. But it's a guarantee happiness until that. You wash and renew every year, hoping that Arsenal eventually wins the championship. Because at the very least, these clubs do pretend to be professionals, or at least they are professionals. But here's what keeps me awake at night. As an outsider who has no right to feel this possessive, every time a Nigerian child puts on a Manchester United shirt instead of a Remo Star one, Nigerian football dies a little more. Every time a billionaire in Ikoyi sponsors a Premier League box instead of buying his local club, the NPFL, the Nigerian Professional League, the Nigerian Professional Football League stays poor because a Nigerian billionaire prefers to buy a Premier League box for himself and his family. Every time a talented teenager is told, if you are serious, you must leave for Europe at 15, the domestic league loses another brick in the wall it desperately needs. I look at Remo Stars, privately owned, debt-free, 20,000 capacity stadium. Remo Star has a 20,000 capacity stadium, a women's team, youth sites, continental football, even though they crashed out. And I see the seed of something that could be bigger than the PSL in 10 years. But the seed is starving because even Nigerians refuse to water that seed. I watch Morocco pack 65,000 in Casablanca every week for Wydad against Raja. I watch Tanzanians travel 6 hours to watch Simba versus Young Africans in a stadium that looks like we are playing in Europe. I watch South Africans turn the Soweto Derby into a national holiday. And I come back to Nigeria, the most football-mad nation on earth, and the stadiums are empty. Not because you stop loving football, because you stop believing your own football deserves your love. This is the ultimate victory of the corrupt. They didn't just steal the money, they stole your faith. I am a foreigner. I have no vote in the NPFL elections. I cannot march the grass house tomorrow. But I'm telling you, from the outside looking in, with no tribal or political skin in the game, your football is not dead. It is being murdered in plain sight. And the killers are winning because you have looked away. One day, maybe in 10 years, maybe in 20 years, another country will, with 1/3 your population, 1/10 your talent, will be in the World Cup quarterfinals while Nigeria fights Rwanda, Chad, Botswana for a playoff spot. And the commentators will say, Africa's sleeping giant just can't wake up. And Nigeria is Africa's sleeping giant because they've been asleep on the switch. And I would turn off the television and cry, not for me, for you, because I have seen what you have. I have seen the miracle you are throwing away. Wake up, Niger, not for my sake, for the kids in Surulere who still believe a Nigerian club can one day make them proud to wear Nigerian colors again. The beautiful game is waiting. It's time to bring it home. A foreigner who loves your football more than some of you do. Shares. So, as I was saying, it's a disappointment for me, an embarrassment for me to even to find out that Nigeria is playing the qualifiers. This should be for smaller countries because Nigeria should be so set that at the start of this tournament, Nigeria already knows that we have to qualify and we need this number of points. The talent is not the problem. Nigeria has been blessed with abundance of talents. 220 million in a country that loves football. You will produce the Osimens in abundance. You will have Osimens until the coaches will not know what to do. Like I said in my letter, you can find 22,000 Osimens easy across Nigeria. The problem is Nigerians are just not ready to do what it's required. Other countries have done this. We're not going to look at European countries. We will look at African countries that are doing this and are succeeding. In a few years, Tanzania will be ahead of Nigeria. Currently, when it comes to a local league, Tanzania is light years ahead of Nigeria. It's not that Tanzanians don't love Arsenal. It's not that Tanzanians don't love Chelsea. It's not that Tanzanians don't love Barcelona. They love all these teams. They support all these teams, but they support Simba more. They support Young African more. They support their local home teams because it speaks to them. It has an identity. Like I said, I would look for a video right now and share it to you so you understand that there are derbies in Africa. I don't know that there's any derby in Nigeria right now that shuts down Nigeria. There are no derbies in Lagos. There are no derbies in Abuja. There are no derbies in Enugu that shuts down that city. A rivalry like Arsenal, Chelsea, like Arsenal, Tottenham. This is what football should be all about. And in Nigeria right now, if you look at the Nigerian Premier League, you will cry, you will weep. And if you cannot get that right, you don't have the right to believe that you have what it takes to play at the World Cup. You don't have that right. You cannot make those demands when you have not fixed what needs to be fixed at the elementary basic level. You don't have that right. You don't have that right. Let's switch up and watch this. Let me share this real quick.
Maka.
This is Simba in red versus Young Africa. just look at the stadium. Look at the professionalism of this. If not for the fact that the people running around this football are black, you would think that this is not Africa. Do you think that Nigeria does not have the possibility to pull this off? Do you think that Nigeria cannot be like this? Let's watch a few seconds of this game.
Oh, here comes Zuzwa. Light to the referee. Penalty! It's been given. Fadlu Davids can't believe what's going on, but the penalty has just been given. One is saying, trying very much to come into this. Remember,
look at that crowd size. This is in Africa. My people, this is not an international game. This is not Tanzanian national team playing. This is a derby. This is a local derby at home. Nigerians, take a moment and breathe. You can do this. This is the pride of Africa. The guys in yellow are young Africans. The guys in red are Simba. This is a local derby. And this is what happens when you organize your football. So we're not going to see Tanzania at the very high level, at the national level, because this just started. This just started. So this is progress. So give it 5 years, give it 10 years, when the teenagers have started maturing into this system, Nigeria will be the talk of the past. They will start talking and sounding like Cameroonians. We have won this, we were this, they will speak in the past. This is happening in Africa. This shuts down cities. And I can show you the Soweto Derby. And I will show you the Soweto Derby. I will show you derbies across Africa so you understand that countries like Ghana, Nigeria, Cameroon, Ivory Coast, yes, Ghana, Nigeria, they're still hanging. Ghana and Ivory Coast, maybe they're still hanging there. But we must understand that we must bring it back at home. You must bring it back at home. There should be no pressure for an African child to rush into a country that they don't speak the language, they don't understand the weather, they don't have family members over there to play over there, when we can build our own football at home. And when you look at the failures in Nigeria, it's at the crux. Do you know the benefit of a successful Nigerian league in that sub-region? How many countries are just going to benefit from it? Do you know that in Ivory Coast, after Europe, South Africa was the highest provider of players to that tournament? That's the benefit of the South African League. Namibia, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Uganda, those countries that immediately surround South Africa, they benefit in the first division and the second division. And we saw that those talents on display in the African Nations Cup that happened in Ivory Coast. We saw that. So picture a successful Nigerian league that is able to rival the likes of the South African league, the likes of the Tanzanian league, the likes of the Moroccan league, the likes of the Egyptian league. Look at the players that play in Egypt. Maybe 2, maybe 3 play in Europe. The rest play for Pyramid, play for local teams, because they have the quality and the money to keep their players local. Do you think that this is impossible in Nigeria? Because I would have normally said, maybe it's just that Black people cannot get themselves to do this, but it's done in Tanzania, it's done in South Africa. So Black people can do it. There's evidence that Black folks can actually put their greed and selfishness on the side and put the interests of the country in front before everyone else. Nigeria will struggle as long as they refuse to do what needs to be done. Learning from the likes of Tanzania, learning from the likes of South Africa, learning from the likes of Morocco and other countries. Ghana does not have this. Ivory Coast does not have this. Cameroon is probably never going to have this. Senegal does not have this. This is what needs to happen across Africa. This is what needs to happen to make sure that we consume our own football. Failure is not the end of the life. France failed in 2010. They had a terrible showing in the World Cup in 2010. France was able to get together, learn, go back home with their tails in between their legs, and put a powerful team that put in a process, a structural process that by 2014, we started seeing the birth of Paul Pogba, Golo Kante, because they put in the structure that nurtured the talents that was able to start dominating in Europe, and eventually France won its first World Cup after a horrendous, terrible 2010 outings. Germany did the same thing. In 2006, when Germany hosted the World Cup, Germany went out in the first round. It was an embarrassing show. And Germany said, you know what? We're going to go back to the drawing board and develop at the grassroots level. We're going to build the infrastructure to nurture the grassroots level. And we saw the Mesut Özil, we saw the player, Philip, I think the group of players that came out with Mesut Özil. And they went on to win their World Cup, not the first. After that progress, they were able to go on to win a World Cup. It is not rocket science, my African brothers and sisters. It is not impossible. It is the will. If you prioritize corruption, stealing from the youth, you will solely depend on talent, and that does not take you anywhere. It takes you nowhere, because when that generation runs out and there's not a factory that is producing the next set of talents, then you are going to struggle. When the Osimhens go out, who are the next set of players that are going to come? They might not just be as talented because there's no structure or system. So we're going to wait again, another cycle come and go past. And then we have another special kid that comes out from nowhere and comes through the ranks, but there's no system. France has an academy, Clairefontaine. That's where you are now playing in the French national team. You have to be exceptional if you've not gone through the ranks of the Clairefontaine. Morocco has instituted the Mohammed VI football academy. Morocco just recently, 4 years ago, they went to the semifinals of the World Cup. Their women went to the finals of the Women's African Nations Cup. The under 20 just won the under 20 World Cup, beating Argentina easily 2-0. No age fraud, no questions about their age, just clean, clear process. If you do the work, you will get the results. Nigeria, it is not magic. Nigeria, it is not a mystery. It is simple discipline. It is simply a process of organization and discipline. If you are not organized and disciplined, you will be wasting your people's time and you will be stealing the money. Nigeria is wasting. It's the biggest waste in African football. And Nigeria can fix this. Morocco, the king of Nigeria, decided to fix it. It's not easy. It's not hard. But Nigeria has missed back-to-back World Cups. This should be a call for reflection. Before I round up, Let's watch this a little bit more. And we watched the Soweto Derby.
It was in the 5 win that Pacom Zuzwa got a penalty and scored. Zuzwa was fast on the ball. There's the collision.
65,000 Tanzanians, 68,000 Tanzanians screaming, wearing club merchandise, supporting and branding. And my goodness, this is what African football is all about. Let's go back and watch the Soweto Derby. Soweto Derby.
The last derby started by Chapel was an unused sub, but while Yusuf Mat came off the bench for Kaiser Chiefs, well, he starts this one and
look at the crowd.
will captain the team. Our match referee.
Look at the quality of the marketing.
Mdluli. He's assisted by the very experienced Zakele Suela.
Look at this.
Sibati will run.
Look at that. This is impossible in Nigeria as we speak because Nigerians have given up faith and hope in their own football, and they're now split in European football, thousands and thousands of kilometers away. Nobody's saying don't support Arsenal. Nobody's saying don't support Chelsea. Nobody's saying don't support Manchester United. But we're saying support your own first. Build your local football. Build at the grassroots level. Build and invest in your own football. Bet in your own football. Put the money in your neighborhood before sending that money to Europe. They already have plenty of support. They appreciate your support, but they really don't need it. Put your own money, buy your own merchandise. Look at the passion. Right? Look at the passion. Let's go. Let's look for more. This is happening in Africa. This is not happening in Europe. This is not happening in Asia. This is happening in Morocco. My brothers and sisters in Nigeria, in Ghana, in Ivory Coast, you are your own problem. You are your own weakness. You are your own excuses. You are your own laziness. This is happening in Africa on African soil. So nobody is waiting to go to Europe. These guys are still going to leave this field and go support, because there are Moroccans that play in the Premier League. There are Moroccans that play in the French League. There are Moroccans that play in the Spanish League. These guys that play in their national team also follow those teams. But look at the passion that they have at home. The last win? Nigerians, you cannot wait for only when your national team is playing to come up and wear your green, white, and green. And then when you're done, you rush up to go wear Arsenal jersey, Manchester jersey. No, go and wear your Rima jersey. Go and wear your Enugu jersey. Go and wear your Kano Pila jerseys. Love yourself, Nigerians. Love your country. Your country is not only the national team. Love yourself. Support your local team. Put in the money at home. Buy a ticket. Create the derby. Those derbies are not going to create themselves. Create the derbies. You and your brother supports the other team. You support the other team. That is the start of the derby. It's a culture that starts from yourself. This is how you break a cycle of corruption. Because you have to spend your money. And when you spend your money, the team has to get that quality. When was the last time a good Nigerian team was represented at the African Champions League level? When was the last time? You worry about the national team, but you're an Arsenal fan, you're a Manchester United fan, you're a Tottenham fan, you're a Barcelona fan, you're an Inter Milan fan, you're a Real Madrid fan. Next year we're going to buy 200 million. We as who? We in an Arsenal conversation. You don't own a passport. You've never left Nigeria. You don't know how to get from Lagos to the Emirates. But you can write that on a piece of paper, but you have never been to your local team to watch it. It's a shame. It is a shame. And this is why they laugh at us. They laugh at us because we prioritize everything outside and don't look at home, to clean our own homes. You want Nigeria to go and play the World Cup. Does Nigeria have a team that plays in the Champions League in Africa? Does Nigeria have a local team that went to the Chan? I even doubt if most Nigerians know what the Chan is, because Nigerians know two things. They know the Eagles, the Falcons. I'll put that in one. And then they know the other international leagues. They are experts. Watch Nigerian analysis on breaking down the Premier League. You would think Europeans are joking. But where's that love for home football? Where's that passion for home football? Who's going to change it? You, Nigerians, you. And consistently, year after year, you have failed us and continue to fail Africa. So for me, it was a disappointment seeing Nigeria play the qualifiers, the continental qualifiers. Nigeria should not be there. Nigeria should never have been there. Nigeria should have qualified because it should have been a difficult game, but something that Nigeria can carry and just breeze through. Do you expect Egypt to be playing? Do you expect Tunisia? These are countries that just have standards. These countries are coming to the Nations Cup. They have objectives. We are going to make it to the quarterfinals. We're going to make it to the semifinals. Egypt is coming to win. They might not win, but their objective is to come and win. And 80% of their players play in Egypt. In Black Africa, we always think we have to go play in Europe. A lot of Moroccan players have played the Chan, played locally, and then gone over to Europe. They bought them after they played in their local leagues. How many Nigerian players that played in that national team game yesterday have played locally in Nigeria have played the Chan, have played in any of the leagues in Nigeria before being bought over? How many? Most of them are kids born abroad. Most of them traveled when they were 14, 15. They don't even understand the culture of football of Nigeria. So there's no value system because the culture of football of Nigeria is not instilled in them. You see the Congolese team you played, you could count 2, 3 that played in Tepe Mazembe. Tepe Mazembe was a powerhouse. But because Congo is a very unstable country. It was just like how you have PSG in France, one team blowing up the other teams. It was just a one-man show. But they dominated Africa. So they produced quality players. So you have players there that have played on Congolese soil and they're hungry. You're playing a team that for 52 or 53 years have not qualified for the World Cup. You're playing with British-born kids, American-born kids, European-born kids that don't have that hunger. It's not a bad thing. It's a welcome addition. But you must have a system, a flow. Nigeria, make this right. Nigerians, do what is right. You cannot be more Chelsea, more Manchester than those people. You are not wearing Rima. You are not wearing Enugu. You are not wearing Kanu. But you're more Arsenal. You're more Manchester City. And you follow the money. Now that Newcastle has money, you will find 100,000 Nigerians who are suddenly Newcastle fans. And if Baba Dangote goes and buy Brentford, oh my God, 2 million Nigerians immediately subscribe and become Brentford fans. Africa, we have a mentality problem. Africans, we have an identity crisis. Africans, we have a loyalty crisis. We do, and we need to accept that we have a self-defeatist mentality where our own is just not good enough, but some other person's own is always the best. We do, and we should be able to accept that and say, yes, this is a problem that we have. And nobody's going to come fix it for you. Nobody's stopping you from going into the stadiums and buying tickets and creating this atmosphere. You can force your Premier League to act right. You can do that. You just don't want to. Yes, they are corrupt to their souls. These people will not make heaven. And I seriously doubt hell is even a place that they will go. There has to be some place worse than hell that these Nigerian football administrators need to go to. There has to be. Hell, it's already the existence of Nigeria. That's hell enough. Because the destruction of generation over generation cannot settle in health. There has to be another place where the torture is worse for this Nigerian administrations, football administrators. There has to be. In Cameroon, in Ghana, all of these places where the black man is just corrupt to his fiber and DNA. Because for no reason that you are seated there to build the football of your country, you decide to steal the money for yourself. You decide to make it about you. Nobody knows who the president of the South African football is. Nobody knows who the president of the Tanzanian football administration is. Nobody knows who the Morocco. There we can Google them and find them out. But if you are bigger as a person than the football that you produce, then there's a problem. Your football should be bigger than you. It's a problem. But Nigerians, I blame you too. I blame you too. And I understand your pain, like the fan said, our pain, but that's related to your national team. What about your local team? What about your local derbies? I watched a game in Enugu Rangers versus some team. The pitch was a cow dump. It's a cow ranch. Nigeria has not been able to single-handedly host the African Nations Cup because they just don't have the infrastructure. Nigeria cannot host single-handedly. They've hosted in 2000. They were able to host, but they hosted with Ghana, they hosted with other countries. Nigeria has not single single-handedly hosted the African Nations Cup in recent memory. The biggest economy in Africa cannot afford to host. Not afford. They just don't have the infrastructure. It's not a lack of trying. It's because they have stolen all the money that was given by FIFA to host and build infrastructure. Nigeria would have had maybe $10 million just for qualifying for the World Cup. That money is going to go, if Congo goes on to qualify, that money is going to go to Congo. I'm hoping Congo can put that in their infrastructure and go to their neighboring countries like Tanzania and ask them, how did you get it right? But with the war history, I don't know that Congo is able to do that. But if they can, they should learn. African countries, we have a Black country that is doing it. So Black people can do it. I mean, the Tanzanian president sucks, but the institutions are already in place. We should learn from Tanzania. We should learn from our brothers up north. Tunisia. Tunisia has the Esperance. Morocco has the Wydad, the Raja. Egypt has the Pyramids and other teams. What does Nigeria have? What does Ghana have? What does Ivory Coast have? These are teams. You no longer hear these countries in the CAF tournament. You don't hear about an Ivorian team dominating a game, because football now is no longer about talent alone. These old dinosaurs are still heavily dependent on talent. Talent will only carry you so far. That's why you can be a skilled player from Africa, because you lack the discipline and focus from a structural institution before you get to Africa, to Europe. And they look at you, they're like, you know what? Yeah, he's talented, but he is clueless upstairs. He has no discipline. He has no focus. And they make you a defender. And everyone's like, oh, why did they turn this talented player into a defender? Because he dumb. He just straight up dumb. No sense, no intelligence. He's talented, yes, but football in Europe, in Western country, is beyond talent. Discipline is the most important criteria in football. Not talent. Talented players will sit on the bench, or they'll make you a goalkeeper or make you a defender, but you're not going to play up front. That requires discipline, precision, analytics that African players miss because they don't have the structure. You have to be exceptional for the white man to say, you know what, I'll play you up front. You have to be exceptional. So Nigerians, let's wrap up today. We can do better. We should do better as Africa. Across the board, not just Nigeria, Ghana, you can do better. You're prideful right now that you qualified, but you've been qualifying. You've been to the quarterfinals. Ghana has no damn league. That sand field that you guys play on is trash. Tanzania beats Ghana in local football level. And Ghana is a powerhouse. Tanzania is just now building a team that can even play at the African Nations Cup. Give it 10 years. We will not be hearing of Ghana again. We will not be hearing of Nigeria and Cameroon. Give it 10 years. When the children in Tanzania, when the children in Botswana, when the children, these are countries that pale in population with the likes of Nigeria, Tanzania, Ghana, and all these places. But they have structure, they have discipline, and they have a mission. So ride your wave, but these are dinosaurs coming to an end of a generation. We're always going to see the Northerners, because the Northerners have a process. Sub-Saharan Africa, the Black folks, they're the ones that don't have no process. They just go with the flow. Oh my goodness. Talent, we got kudos, we got this person, we got talent. We just randomly get 11 players that are talented and they're meeting for the first time. They didn't play in under 20. They didn't grow up in under 17. They didn't go through an academy that formed them in a way that they want Ghanaian football to be played. So I know you because we've been playing since the academy. I know you because we've been playing since under 17. I know you because we've been playing since under 20. I know you because we played the Chan and then we got scattered because we were good. Clubs bought us across the world. We got scattered. But if we had a good league, we would stay back. Sante Kotokoto, Chelsea, Bekuru, whatever. When was Ghana at the under 17, under 20, all of the, because they don't have a process, they don't have a structure. South Africa has been at every level. If you put an under 15 World Cup today, South Africa will qualify because they have a structure, they have a process. Nigeria would dominate, beat Argentina at the under 20, blow off everybody. They're beating everybody 4-0, 5-0. 2 years later, those children that Nigeria was beating at under 20 now, they've made it to their national team. That Nigerian team that was beating off this same Argentina team is nowhere to be found. Maybe one player in there makes it to the national team. That's what cheating gets you. That's what lying gets you. That's what shortcuts gets you. That's what trying to get it easy gets you. Black man, there's no shortcuts to success. It's hard work, discipline, and a process. That is it. 3 steps: hard work, discipline, and a process. You didn't hear me say talent. You didn't hear me say money. You didn't hear me say nothing else other than hard work, discipline, and a process. You got to throw in honesty in there. You cannot cheat your way to win the World Cup. It is pointless to dominate Africa and you cannot even come out. Everybody thinks you're this superpower. And when you go to the World Cup, you can't even come out of your group. Your World Cup group, you can't even come out of it. You can't beat Serbia. You can't beat Jamaica. You can't beat Iraq. But you're some African champion. You're some powerhouse in Africa. But you can't get out of your group. As we round up today, my brothers and sisters, you have the yam and you have the knife. You can cry every 2 years. You can cry every 4 years. It's up to you. But you must build your own. You must be proud of your own. Nigerian music took center stage. Nigerian movie took center stage because you were proud of your music. You were proud of your movie. You carried it, and the rest of the world came supporting it and loving it. It is your job and responsibility to carry your local football, to make sure that that cheating does not exist. Because at the very academic level, you will have the kids that have the age that's playing for the team. You will not tender in kids that are older. Africa, we must stand up. Africa, we must change. Africa, we must do better. It is your host for the Village Boy. Like the channel, support the channel, comment, disagree, cheat your way through, do whatever you need to do, but understand that it will not give you the results you're looking for. Only those with the processes will win the game. Morocco is not working hard. Morocco is implementing a process. It's as simple as that. Nigeria is not a miracle. You can't pray your way through this. So you might go back now and watch your Arsenal and Chelsea next weekend, or you might get to work. It's up to you. Really just up to you. Good night and good luck.